Welcome to another episode of the Cat Breeding for Beginners podcast. I'm Pamela and I breed British Shorthairs in Perth, Western Australia. I have a real passion for cat breeding and exhibiting, and I want to share my knowledge and experience with you. I'm on a mission to help new cat breeders go from feeling intimidated, confused, and having trouble getting started to confidently breeding happy and healthy cats whilst enjoying this amazing hobby. Before we get started, make sure you visit my website and download your copy of my helpful guide, Advice to New Breeders, where experienced breeders share some great tips they wish someone told them when they started breeding. You can find the link on my homepage at www.catbreedingforbeginners.com. Just look for the picture of Angelica with her kittens. I'm sitting here with my cat Sophie, who's my special girl who's only got one eye, and she's being very cute. But I don't want to talk to you about Sophie today. What I want to talk to you about is emails. And I thought this was a good topic to discuss with you because it's come up a little bit in the New Cat Breeders Club and in other things that I've been doing lately. And I thought I'd give you some perspective about that. Now, one of the things that you might not know about me is that I actually own a beauty spa here in Perth in Western Australia, and I've owned it for a very long time. During that time, I've owned it from before we had Instagram, if you want to think about how long that's been. It's been a while. I think I had a flip phone when we first started. And one of the things that I've had that whole time is a really serious email list, and I've worked really hard on that. In recent months, I've been reviving it and working even harder on it because things have been pretty tough in our industry, and it's been very difficult to get new clients and retain clients that we have. So my email list has been really valuable in terms of, clientele, and I put a lot of effort into it, and it's quite large, but it's not huge, and I'm okay with that. And I want to tell you the same thing applies for when you're building up a list of people to be on your list of people that are interested in your cats and kittens. Because we can sometimes think that it needs to be the biggest list, and that we should do everything we can to attract people to try and join our list. We should try and, get them onto the list, funnel them onto the list if you like. And it's kind of not really the objective because I've had a really big list. It just happens to me quite often. It just happens to me. My list just grows and blows out of proportion quite easily. Now, my list for my cats is, if you want to get a kitten from me, you have to jump through a few hoops to even get in contact with me. I don't have my phone number anywhere, and I don't put my email anywhere either. If you want to find out about getting a kitten from me, even if you contact me on Facebook, I'll redirect you to my website. So everything happens on my website. And on my website, my potential new owners can find my kitten page, find the section where they actually have to fill out the form, and then wait to hear back from me. And the form is really basic. I don't make them tell me their life story at this point because it's just saying, hello, I'd like to know about kittens from you. But to be able to actually even hit the button on that form, they have to say, yes, I live in Western Australia. So I've narrowed down my list to just people in my state. And I'll tell you why, because when I didn't, my list would blow out to the thousands very quickly. I had people from around the world asking for kittens. I had people from around Australia asking for kittens. And I, a long time ago, stopped selling cats interstate. There's no need for me to take a kitten to the airport and put it on a plane. When I can sell that kitten to someone that comes to my house and I meet personally and we talk about them and they see the other cats and we form a relationship, and that person then sends me lots of photos for the rest of the cat's life. So that's just what I want. So I don't sell interstate, therefore I don't collect names from interstate. So that narrowed down my list a lot because it was getting to be in the thousands. And even narrowing it down, a couple of years ago, it blew out to about 850 people. And I thought, I can't deal with that. So I had to narrow that down again. So I actually blew that list away and restarted my list. And I said to everybody that was on that list, if you are genuinely still interested in a kitten, please join the new list. And a lot of them did. And that list, last time I looked at it, had 400 people on it. So it's a really, really narrow list. You have to find me, you have to find the list, you have to join the list, and then you have to wait. And I do send emails out to them, on an ad hoc basis. I must get better at that, actually. But here's the thing. I know that people are thinking you have to have a big list and you have to attract a lot of buyers and you have to attract enough buyers to have buyers for your kittens for, numerous years to come and everything. But you kind of don't, because when you do that, you have to deal with all of those people. And this is the lesson that I've learned and I want to teach you about. If your list gets too big, it becomes unmanageable. If you ask people for too much information up front, they feel like they're going to be getting a kitten from you. They're going to start contacting you and asking you a lot about the kitten. If you are someone that wants to be doing that, that's great. I am not someone that wants to be doing that. I want to keep things as simple as I possibly can so that I can spend my time with my cats and on my cats. I want to be able to just deal with, I don't want to have to deal with people on a one-on-one basis until I've got a kitten for them. So I manage my list that way, but you don't want it to be too big and you don't want it to be too broad. So what I mean by broad is I don't want people in Malaysia on my kitten list. They are not getting a kitten from me. All that means is that when I say I've got kittens, I'm going to have to tell them, no, you can't have one. If I stop them joining in the first place by having a way of narrowing down my list, then they're not going to be upset. They're not going to feel like they gave me heaps of information and sat on my list for 2 years, and then I told them when they asked for a kitten, no, you can't have one because you're not in the right country. That's just a waste of their time and mine. So keeping that list smaller but more targeted, if you like is the right word, is probably a better idea, and it's way more manageable. And when I think about my list that I have for my business, that's exactly what I want. I don't want people on my list for my business who live in Melbourne. I don't want people for my business, on my business that live in, the UK or India. I just want people right there from Perth. Perth only. That's all I want. I just want to deal with those people because they are my target market. So if you've made a decision that you're only selling cats to a certain area, make that as prerequisite for people joining your list. If you have a list that's got a lot of people on it, I literally turn off the funnels to it, if you like, because it's a lot of people to manage. If your list gets out of control, blow it away and start a new list. Just keep it narrowed down so that you're only dealing with people that are genuinely going to potentially be getting kittens from you. It's the same as what I say about social media. You need to keep it kind of local because that's who's buying them. That's who's buying them. And I find it 1,000 times easier to send out a message to my list and say I have kittens available and deal with the 20 or so people who come back and say that they want them, because not everyone's going to want them at that time. People join your list and they might want a kitten in 2 years, or they might want a kitten next week. And, there's a window that there's going to be the right people at the right time. And I'd rather deal with 20 people for 5 kittens than deal with 200 people for 5 kittens and have to sift through and work out who's the best person. So that's my advice to you. Make sure that you keep things very narrowed down and, create ways to do that by having questions on your list when people join your list to, narrow that down so that you've got a very local, very specific list that's going to be people that are genuinely going to buy your kittens, because you don't want to have to, manage more than that. The other thing is too that, I think there's a lot of people saying that you can use CRM for managing your kitten inquiries. And I've done this for probably 15 years. I use MailChimp to run mine, which is a CRM. And that means it's a management system. And when you're doing that, the audience that you have, the bigger it gets. MailChimp's not too bad actually, but the bigger it gets, sometimes you have to pay more money to have those email addresses hosted there. And, you want to keep it narrow and keep it tight so that you don't have to do that, and so that it makes your life easier, because I'm all about anything that makes your life easier. That is super important to me. And I know it's important to you guys too. So that's my advice. Keep it narrow, keep it targeted. Don't be going fishing for thousands and thousands of people. Go fishing for the people that are genuinely going to buy your cats and kittens. Hope that was helpful for you. Okay, bye.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you visit www.catbreedingforbeginners.com where you can find articles, guides, courses and more. Plus, make sure you check out my amazing New Cat Breeders Club. It's a supportive space where new cat breeders can learn, share and help each other. I only take new members a few times a year, so sign up to make sure you don't miss out.